Well, thank you, Brock and Fernette and the Tremaine Foundation. You know, it's been something of a revelation for me to be here. I was thinking of saying something else, and then my experience in being here. It seems something of a paradox to me that for the first part of my life, when I didn't know I was dyslexic until I was 58, and my son was diagnosed with it in second grade, and I realized that every symptom he had, I had. All that time, not knowing what it was, I felt dumb. So I was trying to prove that I was smart enough, no matter what happened in the field of poetry. If I had a success, my first book was successful. It was nominated for an award, and I remember sitting in the audience. It was well, I think it was Carnegie Hall. It was a big. Dick Cavett was the MC, and the winner. I was a finalist, and the winner got up there, a very accomplished poet, an older poet, and said, "There's someone in this hall who doesn't belong here. There's someone in this hall who shouldn't be here." And I, of course, thought he was talking about me. And I was looking for the nearest exit. And I was actually not sitting in an aisle seat, which ever since I've sat in the aisle seat on planes, because I would have had to climb over several people. And I actually thought that he was going to point at me and ask me to leave the hall. Being a finalist as a 30-year-old poet with the others was, of course, an honor. But I had an ability to turn that honor into something else. The dyslexia, which created an ability for me to write something that was being honored, also created the anxiety that I didn't belong there. And ever since I got here and saw these presentations, I felt that maybe I'm not dyslexic enough. I can't do any of this. I can't do, I've lived in fear for many years that, what is it called, PowerPoint, I would be asked to do. And I think Brock asked me just recently, would I do a slideshow, and the fear of almost all technology. And I even saw, I think it was Fernette's listing of where my art fits in among dyslexics. I'm the second to last. So all the other, you're mostly IT people and computer and science and all these things. I thought, well, my son's good in chemistry, and science, so this is my calling. This ability to turn things inside out and see them from shifting perspectives is probably something that allows me to write the poetry I write. This struggle with anxiety that variability creates is an issue, an ongoing issue. I mean, I can feel honored to be here and at the same time wonder if I belong here. And it's an old feeling. It probably dates back to grade school. They didn't know what dyslexia was in the 50s, or they didn't know what it was in the school system that I was part of. I was kicked out of at least 2 schools and held back twice. And I was at a table in the corner of a classroom with 2 other kids, one of whom was probably autistic, thinking back. And the other was a juvenile delinquent, who I thought was pretty cool. My ambition in life was to become him. I kind of did. We had the teachers' back. So when I hear President Obama or someone saying, "We have your back," it means a different thing to me. We were the excluded, and that feeling stays with you. Now, it's not It's not a feeling that my son has. It's not a feeling that people who are recognized and they understand what they have feel and have to go through entirely, anyway. But that issue, that particular struggle probably has something to do with feeling excluded, being the kind of poet I am, and being the kind of teacher I am. I am interested in not the one or two. Many of my colleagues, very good writers and teachers, talk to the one or two gifted students in the class, whether undergraduate or graduate. I'm more interested in the others. I'm more interested in the unrecognized. If you feel unrecognized, it can be a gift in itself, because then you want to recognize your fellow travelers. I have found as a teacher over and over again that if you give the proper amount of attention and support to people who feel unrecognized, that they find talent in themselves. I don't think I've ever met anyone who I felt didn't have talent or didn't have it. It's just a matter of expressing it. This giving of recognition is a way of, as a teacher, giving it to myself as a person. I think that when I write, that the main impulse in writing is to try to soothe myself. I'm telling my Brock mentioned that I never took notes. I remember anything. I've always felt confident that anything was important to me, I would remember the details of, and it's true. I've recently completed, as of last Wednesday, a book-length poem, a long poem that I've been working on in different aspects and different times, 30-some years of my life. And it deals with the welfare system and the Holocaust. And I thought, well, I'm going to have to remember back to experiences I had in the 60s. And I had no trouble at all in doing that. I was able to juggle 15 different stories to 15 different narratives, and I guess this comes right out of your book. After a while, the connection I'm trying to make, and I think I'll end it at that I'm trying to end before the red comes, that the very part of me that feels I'm going to be asked to leave the room, that feels a lack of confidence, is the very part that's able to remember details of, let's say, indignity or humiliation and turn it into something else, turn it into, even if it takes 30-some years, celebration and praise. And I'll end it there.